Hi Capricorn, welcome to Moon Memes Messages. This is your collective finance reading. Now, as this is a collective reading, not everything will resonate, so please only take what resonates and leave what doesn't. If you don't find any messages in this for yourself, then please check your other placements where you're likely to find a message in there. Now, just for clarity, I'm not a qualified financial advisor, so I'm not going to be telling you what you need to invest into. This is simply a message from Spirit with some helpful hints and tips, hopefully. Just going through what is the current financial circumstance that most of the collective are going through. I say most, it could just be a small portion of you. So, Spirit, can we get some cards for the Capricorn collective for what is going on, what you want to discuss with a financial circumstance? What's going on with finances for Capricorn? Okie dokie. So, currently in finances for you, we've got this beautiful Queen of Shards here. And now this is the equivalent of a Queen of Wands. And it's suggesting to me that you are very giving at the moment. So you probably give a good chunk of your money away, if not your money, your time or your energy. With it being finance, I'm assuming that it is very much that maybe you're working at a charity shop and you're giving a lot of your time away. Maybe you're working on minimum wage, not doing, not necessarily getting the money that you are working for. Like I say, it could be that you're just donating time, money, because if you're donating your time to charity, you're not necessarily making money for it, but ultimately you could just be donating a lot too. Let's get some donating a lot. That makes sense, doesn't it? Especially when I'm saying you're donating. Yeah, so you could be donating actual as well. So let's get clarity on this Queen of Shards. Okay, so I've got a Death, a Four of Cups, and a Five of Cups. So, the Death card then for you. What are we saying? So, it looks like things might be on a bit of a hot pause for you. Now, that could have something to do with because you're giving, maybe you're giving too much of your time away and you're not able to make much money at the moment. You might need to keep track of, or you might be trying to keep track of what you're spending out on as well. Maybe you've realised already that certain things are, maybe you just give, maybe you realised you need to cut down on some of your giving. It does feel like you've been stuck for some time as well. With this Five of Cups here, it feels like maybe you've been out of work for some time and you're just doing some charity work to get yourself some skills up. Maybe you're doing it for your CV, so you've got that bit of experience on your CV while you've been out of work. Um, I mean, it could be that you're actually receiving from charities. Maybe it's not that you're actually donating. Maybe it's that they're donating to you quite a lot. It does feel to me like you could either be out of work or you are giving up a lot of your time to charities, and it means that you're not able to then make enough, not necessarily not make enough, but I feel like you're struggling. It feels to me like you don't have much extra, or you might be literally just living on the breadline kind of thing. It doesn't feel like you're able to do much to look after, not so much look after yourself, but it doesn't feel like there's any wiggle room for you to treat yourself, or invest into your future or put savings up and things like that. It feels like whatever money you've got coming in, you're balancing it with whatever you need to spend and then giving the rest away. That's what it feels like. Your challenge, I've got a 3 of gems, which is the same as a 3 of pentacles. So this is very much suggesting that you feel like you do need some stability. You need a bit more money. The challenge is to get that because it feels like it's quite stressful at the moment, not having quite enough. It does suggest to me as well that you actually like doing what you're doing with charities. It feels like you like to give money away because you feel like it makes other people happy and it makes you happy to do that. And that could also be part of why you are in the position that you're in. Um, Maybe you do it for other people. For instance, maybe you've got a particular family member that, I don't know, maybe they ask you on a regular basis to help donate your time to a local church, for instance. So instead of you going to work, you're taking time out to go to the church to help out with them. It makes them happy, it makes the community happy, and ultimately it makes you happy, but it stops you from being able to be a bit more productive for yourself. But let's get some clarity on that 3 of gems. So I've got an 8 of swords, a strength, and I've got the wheel of fortune. Hmm. So I'm just looking at the wheel of fortune. The wheel, it's not a very obvious one. It's a big wheel on the floor. It's been a while since I've used these cards. Right, so your 8 of swords then. This is suggesting that you need to make sure that you're keeping an eye on where your funds are going. It does suggest that part of your challenge could be that you might not know how to do that potentially. So that could be a big challenge for you if you're not 100% sure on how to actually monitor your finances. There are tools out there that could help you if it's something that you're not very good at. It might even be that you need to ask somebody else for some help. But it does suggest here that that is something that you might struggle with. Or it might even be that you don't know if there is anything that you could free up, or as daft as it sounds, maybe you're not somebody that likes doing things like internet banking, and obviously with paper banks or with paper bank statements now being a very rare thing to come out, it might be something where you struggle to be able to monitor your money. I know that especially certain older generations tend to not trust the internet and they don't like the concept of putting card details online, even though it's the way that things are going. I mean, my parents will not touch internet banking for the love of anything. And it's very much of if they want anything buying offline, they'll give me the cash money to go and put into the bank to then buy it for them. So it's okay for me to take the risk, but they won't take the risk themselves. Completely backwards. I understand why, but some people are very much like that, and I do apologise if you are one of those. I'm not laughing at you. I just think it's absurd to get other people to take the risk if you're not willing to do it yourself. But hey ho. Um. Anyway, I diverge even. So yeah. So yeah, very much keeping an eye on where you're spending, what you're spending on, checking over. I'm not saying look, do it with a fine tooth comb and go through everything in granular detail, but have an idea of what is your budget, you know, that kind of thing. That to me feels like it's going to be a bit of a challenge. Um, the strength card here is suggesting that you do like to be quite daring. So you could be a little bit spontaneous with some of the things that you do, with where you spend your money, with potentially investing money or time in things as well. So some of this charity giving could very well be spontaneity. It could even be that you go to charity shops on a regular basis to buy a lot of furniture that you don't need. Everybody is different with different things. So yeah, it does feel a little bit like you might be doing certain things that you don't necessarily need to, and you might try and spread them out a little bit as well. So wherever you're spending your money, or whatever charities you're donating to, and I say charities because this feels like you're giving to multiples, and that is, again, is part of the challenge. It looks as though you're giving to more things than you need to, or than you probably should, given your circumstances. It does feel like maybe you give to 6 or 7 different charities that all do the same kind of thing. So it's like, I know out there I could probably name about 5 or 6 different cancer charities. Um, Same with mental health charities. There's a lot of them. But and you might be giving to individual ones that specialise in individual different areas. So like the cancer, for instance, obviously you've got your normal cancer research ones. You've got, I mean, in the UK, we've got Macmillan, which is about the nurses. Then you've got things for prostate cancer, and you've got ones that specialise in breast cancer, and you've got ones that specialise in bowel cancer, and then you've got brain and leukemia, and all the every different type of cancer you can think of. There's a charity for them, and it feels to me like what you might be doing is you might be going, I'm going to give £5 to this one, and I'm going to give £5 to that one, and I'm going to give £5 to that one, and like you're giving £5 to each one. But what you tend to find is that the research facilities are all together, so you could just give all of that money into one instead of little bit in a little bit. Do you know what I mean? So it could just be that focus in on one particular area instead of spreading it out to millions of others. Um, Now, obviously, you might not be doing that. You could very well have a big variety of charities that you give to, but there might actually be one out there that covers a big variety of things that you could, give to, but don't necessarily need to give as much as you are giving away. I know some people will do the whole thing of they have a minimum amount that they like to give to a particular charity. And some of the elder generation are very good at doing this. And I say that from experience, where, you have a lot of the time it's doorstop callers that will turn up, tell you about charities, convince you to put £5 a month into UNICEF, or I don't know what other charities come to the door. UNICEF is the last one that came to mind. Um, but yeah, so you put £5 into it. Another week later, somebody else comes along, convinces you to put £5 in. So you put £5 in, but you might only be able to afford £20 in total. But you find out you're giving £5 to about 7 or 8 different charities, but you're only supposed to be giving £20. Do you know what I mean? So it could be that because you're giving to so much, you're then over giving, and it feels like you might be giving more than what you probably can afford to give, especially with you trying to look at finances and look at how you can reel some of that in. Now, the advice for yourself to get through this challenge, I have got a 2 of gems. So it does suggest that you need to make sure that you avoid large debts. Make sure that you are very much keeping your spending within your means. Um, and keeping an eye on things as well, because it does suggest that there is potential. You may already be in a chunk of debt because of this. And if you are, it's something where you really need to start looking at an alternative. Um, it does suggest that you need to make sure that you avoid any further debts. and very much start to rein it in a little bit and only spend what it is that you can actually afford. Let's get clarity on this Two of Gems, Spirit. Okay, so I've got a devil that's come out the side. So the devil is always talking about spreading investments. Um, Now it can be in the reverse. It's about putting it into multiple things. In the upright, it is talking about channel it into one particular area. I feel like this is very much suggesting that you need to look into what you are investing into, where your money is going, and then make a decision. Do you still want to continue paying out into multiples? Do you want to reduce it down? It could be that instead of, I mean, I gave a big extreme earlier of the cancer ones. It could be that you just give two or three. And so it's still in multiple areas, but it's not as many as you've currently got, you know? And it could just be that you need to reduce it down and possibly reduce down the amount as well. And nobody likes to reduce down the amount that they give to charity, let's face it. But if you can't afford it, then you can't afford it. And I know that some doorstop callers will turn around and say to you, oh, £2, just £2. £2 won't hurt you. But if you haven't got that £2 and you have to borrow it from someone else, or you're going into debt, and you don't have £2 to give. So as much as they sit there and say £2, you know, I mean, the way that I put it, £2 to somebody, especially if you're on a low income, could be a meal or a day's worth of food for someone. And I know that doesn't sound like much, but if you're on a really tight budget, you know, that could be a massive amount, especially if you've got children. You know, when you can put it in that kind of perspective, do you want to take food away from your children if you've got children to give to a charity that actually the people in the charity that need that money probably aren't going to get that £2. They might get 50p of that, you know? Or do you help yourselves for now, get yourself into a better position where you can then give more to a charity later on, you know? And it's very much looking at it that way. Yes, you might not be able to do a lot now, but if you invest enough into yourself, free things up, it means that you'll be able to give more later on if that is something that you want to do. And when I say giving to charities, it doesn't necessarily mean actual charities either. It could be that you are very just generous with your time and your money. So what you feel could be charitable could be friend or a family member that is in need, and you could be giving to them quite a lot and quite regularly. You know, you could be giving to multiple people in your community your time, your energy. You know, you could be making meals for a load of the kids that live around you if you've got a child at school. You know, it could be a number of different things. Whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is you're giving out, you know, you might need to curb it back just a little bit, or find alternative ways of still giving but not giving to the same extent that you are giving. This is suggesting that you stop looking at other people and stop expecting that people are looking at you. You know, people are not looking to see how much you're giving out. And if they are, then they're not particularly successful themselves at doing it. It feels to me like if you were looking at what other people are doing and how much other people are giving, and you're trying to match it or do better, then it is causing you a few issues. And if you feel like people are judging you, then they're not. The Knight of Pentacles here is telling me that you need to start investing into yourself. You need to start investing time and energy into your own things, because you are not doing enough to make sure that money is working properly for you. You need to very much reassess what money you've got, where it's going, and look at what can you move around, what can you redistribute, can you I don't know, can you renegotiate certain utilities and things like that to try and free up some money? Now, if you get through this talent and you take the advice, then we have this Queen of Gems as your outcome. And that's telling me that money's never going to be an issue for you. So if you manage to get on top of things, and like I was saying earlier, you might dealing with things for yourself now, improving your cash flow now is going to mean that you can give more later on. Um, and it's saying there that with that Queen of Gems, money is going to be no issues for you in future because you're going to have learned how to manage it. You're going to have learned what your limits are, and you'll be able to deal with it a lot better to the point of you'll know what you can give, and sometimes you'll be able to give more than what you do. That's if you want to continue giving. I feel like you probably do, to be honest. This reading is very much reading all about you giving money out. And it could even be that you start giving out more energy than money too. I've got Nine of Wands, Three of Cups, and Four of Swords. So spending money on yourself is something that you're going to be doing as well on this outcome. So not only are you going to have a better cash flow, it is also suggesting that you're actually going to be able to start spending some money on yourself, which is probably something that you don't do very often. It's also suggesting that you're going to be looking at where you do put your money and making sure it is going to the best places. So any money that you do invest, you're going to be making sure that it is being invested properly. Uh, that could very well be that you're going to be looking at if it is charity donations, you're going to be making sure that they are valid charities and that they're getting the most out of that. Because let's face it, sometimes you can give a big donation and most of it gets ate up in administration fees, and it doesn't actually go to research or to the people that need it. It goes into people's pockets that are heading the charity. So it could very well be that you're re-looking at that sort of thing. It does suggest you won't be sharing quite as much. So if you are also giving out to other people, um, like friends, family members, things like that, that you will have put down a little bit. So it does look as though you're going to be looking at where you're investing it, making sure that you're getting the best, where you are putting that money is that, you're getting the best for it or it's going to the best places. And it's going to mean that yes, you're not giving as much out, but it's going that where it is going, it's going to do more to help than what was happening before, basically. Right, let's get you a Angel of Abundance. So we've got attracting, not chasing. So anything or anyone you chase after will run the other way because of fears underlying chasing energy. Instead, attract what you need by sending out love, gratitude, and welcoming energy. And that's what I mean by giving out energy. It very well might be that you just start giving out a lot of energy instead of actual physical money. You might just be giving out a lot more positive energy, a lot more healing vibes, and putting out a lot more positivity into the universe and helping people in general that way than instead of just throwing cash at things. That's if you throw cash at things now, you could already be giving out a lot of energy. Like I say, it just says that you're a very generous person here. Right, I hope you enjoyed your reading today, Capricorn. If you did, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. It will help pass the message on to anyone that needs to hear it. And if you want to hear more from me and you haven't subscribed already, if you hit that subscription button and press the notification bell, it will let you know when I do post new content. Thank you very much to all of you that subscribed already. Your support is greatly appreciated. It helps the channel grow and it also passes that message on to other people as well. So thank you very much for your support. I hope you found today's reading useful. Thank you very much for watching and good luck.